girl, Portia Marie.
What's going on, dope family? It's your boy, IFY.
And this is where creators meet and have dope conversations. Today, we have visual producer on set with us, Miss Princess Mbanuzue. You got it right, yes!
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sis, of course. So let the people know who you are, where you from, and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Princess Mbanuzue. I am a visual producer in Atlanta, originally from Nigeria, Imo State. Okay, okay.
Okay.
If you know, you know. But yeah, so I've been here for about 10 years now, and just been in entertainment the whole time.
Okay, dope. All right, so we're gonna get into some dope topics, okay? Now, you know, there has been a lot of controversy around Black women being in these music videos and these artists, you know, only getting like these fair-skinned women, foreign women. What is your take on that in Black women not being acknowledged or in the forefront as leads in these music videos?
So I kind of have two takes on it.
Okay.
So one, I'm a brown skin girl, you know what I'm saying? So I rep dark skins, right? But I also started off as a background dancer, right?
Okay.
So and I danced for 10 years. I loved it and everything, but I did not do videos because if you see a brown skin girl and she's thick, you automatically think she's gonna be a video vixen or a stripper because you have this connotation connected to dark skinned women and it's all over media. Mm-hmm. So part of me is like, why do we strive to be that? We don't have to be that.
Facts.
We're queens. We don't have to be a video girl. But as a producer now and as a casting director, I make it a point that if I do have that, I bring them to the forefront. So if you look at the Rotimi video In My Bed that I produced, dark-skinned leads for Wale and himself. Wale and Bryson Tiller, dark-skinned lead. Most of my videos, you'll see that I try to get that dark-skinned lead or someone that I just make sure it's diverse in that mixture of black, you know, of blackness. So, and I make it a point to do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Period.
So it's two takes. Like you don't have to do it, but if you choose to, I'm gonna make sure you're in the forefront.
Period.
Yeah.
Nice. So now, for example, right? So I'm sure you have a lot of people bringing you products, right? So what's your take? Like, what's your take on Black-owned businesses, right? Do you feel like if somebody hands you a bag today, that you need to post it, or you know, like, let's say you wear it, right? Do you feel like you have to tag the artist?
My only obligation is to myself, so I don't have to do nothing I don't want to do. So no, but. I mean, I'm for it. You know, like we're all small Black businesses. You know what I'm saying? We all have a growth journey that we're on the road to, right? And we want to be successful. So it is us doing our part for ourselves and other people who look like us to make sure that we do showcase that. So I may not post it. I'm not a big poster on my social. I do what I can, but I'm gonna make sure like, oh yes, sis, I got this from such and such. You know what I'm saying? I'll let them know, you know, so I'll do my part in that way. And I mean, you know, you in PR, word of mouth is still the #1 marketing tool, regardless of social media. So I'm still gonna do my part, yes. But do I feel obligated? No, I don't feel obligated.
Yes, I feel you.
All
right.
It's my money. I'm still helping.
So now in a situation where like, okay, you're casting a production, right? So now they give you a whole bunch of bags by a Black-owned brand. Like, do you feel like you need to promote that, or you just kind of like, oh, those are cute bags, I'm gonna put it in the video, or?
Oh, so okay, so there's for production when we're doing brand sponsorships, there's money involved, there's dollars, right? So it's not that they just give it to us and we put it in there.
Gotcha.
But I may hire a stylist that I know is gonna pull from Black designers, right? Because I know I want them to be featured because they may not be able to pay the production to be featured, right?
Gotcha.
But if you ever see Bel Air, Ciroc, anything in a video, sunglasses, vape pens, we got an obligation because they paid for that production, right? So they may have gave us $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 for us to have the artist in that, or for us to have an extra smoke that vape pen for 6 seconds, or for, you know. So there's a process that goes along with it. But I do make sure that I have fashion designers that I know pull from Black designers or local designers, so that we can, you know, get their name out there. And then anybody I have personal relationships with, I try my hardest to put them in where I can, right? So that they can now share it on their social media. And it may not be the artist shouting them out, but it's in the video. And it's like, okay, well, let me take that clip and be like, oh, I was featured in this. And it makes them sound bigger than, you know, what they are at the time, but they're gonna get there regardless, you know?
And I love what you do. Like, every time you produce a video, you put every single person name in the credits. Like, in her post, every single person name is listed. It don't matter, you're extra, whatever. It's like every person name is listed. And I love that. And I was like, see, people like you, we need more people like you in the industry, because that ain't built like you no more.
I mean, I feel like they make me look good. And I say it on all my posts too. I be like, here are the people who make me look good. And I always tell people to follow them, hire them, because I can't do it alone. I only have but so many productions that I'm doing.
Right.
So me doing 60 productions a year does not guarantee them working every production I do, right?
Right.
But if I say in my post and I tag them and they're like, oh, who did the art direction in that? That was dope. And it's tagged, now you can hire them. Or another, you know, who event can bring them in or whatever. So I just want to make sure that they working throughout the year, because I love to see people succeed. So that's just my biggest thing. Like, I'm a giver, you know, I'm one of those people who's like, I want to just make sure the next person is always winning.
I love
so
that.
That's why I do that post, and it takes forever, but I make sure to do it.
I love that. Well, before we get into the deep conversations, we want to do a celebration toast. I want you to give our audience a word of affirmation or a phrase that you live by every single day.
Ooh, there's a lot of them, honey. What am I gonna do? So I guess affirmation. I am perfectly imperfect, and I am made in God's image.
Love that. Yes.
Love that.
All right, let's dive right into it. How long have you been in the business, and what was your first start into production? So going from background dancing to production, what was that like?
Okay, so yeah, my journey as a background dancer started years ago. I'm not gonna date myself, you guys. But I was in North Carolina actually, and I was in college, and my first client was Ninth Wonder. And Ninth Wonder is like a big producer, right? Right now he's with Rhapsody, like he's huge, right? So he's in North Carolina. He's been in one of those people. He's kind of like J. Cole, where they were like, this is home. I'm gonna be famous, but I'm still gonna be in Durham and Raleigh, North Carolina, and Charlotte. I'm gonna be at home, right? So I started off with him. He had a couple of artists that he needed choreography for, and I was like, all right, I'm dancing for dance teams, I'm dancing for the radio. So I'm like, shoot, this is our time to make it big. So I started working with him and his artists, choreographing. And then right after college, I had a friend named Saida. Saida dropped out of school and went to Atlanta. And she was like the first person I knew that was gonna dance and do it as a career. Cause I was like, girl, we don't make no money as no dancers. This is just a hobby, right? So she moved down and she started working for The Dream. Then she started working for Usher, then Beyonce. She was paying off her mama's mortgage. I was like, oh, okay. When I graduate, I'm not gonna drop out, but when I graduate, I'm gonna go straight to Atlanta. So I came out to Atlanta and I gave myself a year. I was like, I got 1 year to make it, right? And if it don't work out, then I'm gonna just go back and do something in accounting. That's what I was studying, and call it a day. So a year and 1 day, I booked the B.O.B. tour, and I was with him for like 3 years. Him and T.I. Then we started. B.O.B. started his No Genre. Started working with his clients, and I just started working with everybody. So I did that for almost 10 years as a background dancer. When I was doing that, I knew that that was like my stepping stone into the industry, but I knew I wasn't gonna forever do that. I loved it. It was a passion of mine, but what I always saw was like a lack in the talent when it came to like the business mindset, right? Like understanding that a lot of people, came from high school and just wanted to dance, and they didn't understand how to navigate the industry. So I wanted to teach them the business side of things. So I started a consulting and coaching company, but it was for entrepreneurs and entertainers. So I was helping models, singers, dancers, artists, try to just get their leg into the industry and then understand how it runs, right? And then from there, because I was developing a lot of people, I was like, okay, you guys need you need a job placement. Like if I'm running this like a school, right? You need job placement. You just graduated, you've been developed. What do you do now? So I needed to create something where they could work. So that's when I started getting into casting. Because I was like, okay, I got connections with the artists that I was dancing for, their labels, they're starting new labels, they got people under them. Let me just reach out and see if I can cast their videos, or if I could, put, if I was doing art development, bring another choreographer in, or, whatever it was. So I started doing that, doing my casting. And then from there, it was an artist, I think she was signed to Flow Rider at the time, or QC. She was signed to one of them, and she was a friend of mine. She needed help with a video, and I just started helping her put it together. So I was like, okay, she needed a horse. I was dancing with Jason Derulo and was flying back, and I met a couple that had horses in North Georgia. So I was like, I called them up, like, yo, you got any horses I can use for a video? And they like, oh yeah, come over to the ranch. And I'm like, okay, yeah. It was like she needed a nice penthouse. I was like, oh, I got a friend that live at the 12. She needed a warehouse. I was like, oh, I got a friend that's at the Met now. Yeah. But I was like, I got a friend there that got a warehouse. So I just was like hooking her up with like friends I knew. Oh, you need dancers? I got dancers. I know a bunch of them. I used to do that, So that's, I started putting it together, but I didn't know what I was doing. She was like, I don't got a lot of money. They're only gonna give me a little bit, because I don't know if y'all know, but when you first start off and you get signed with that label, there's a certain amount of money they're gonna start allocating to you, because they don't know what your return on investment is, right? So they're just gonna give you small amounts, and then the rest of it you may have to, put in. So she didn't really have a big budget, but I was like writing out the budget for her, like, okay. So we did the video, and the director came in and he was like, who found this? Who did this? And everybody was like pointing at Princess, Princess, Princess. And so he was like, what do you do? I was like, nothing, I'm just helping her. He was like, no, you're a producer. I was like, oh, okay, I'm producer Princess, And so honestly, that's how I found out what a producer was, what they do. And I started researching, and from there on, I called myself a producer before I knew really the full aspect of what it was, and I just started doing. And I've been like that my whole life. I literally just do. It's like, all right, well, you need something done, let's do it, versus planning,
You like me, girl. I just make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I call myself Master P.
Yes.
You saw the vision right there. In that moment, you saw the vision.
Yeah, I'm sorry I just rambled, y'all.
No, that was good. That was a good storytelling. It was real good.
It's my story, girl.
So now, right? So I'm Nigerian, you Nigerian. So I gotta ask you, how does your parents feel about your profession? You're not a doctor. I'm sure somewhere, uncle and daddy had to tell you you're going to be a doctor, but you're not a doctor right now, right? So, but when you tell them what you do, how do they feel about that?
So my parents live back home. So they live back in Nigeria. And so for a long time, they didn't know I danced. And then they didn't know that I was a producer. They still don't really know what I do. They just know, she's happy and she makes money. She can eat. Right?
So they were chill about it. They was kind of like,
well, no, it's just like, even when I went on my first tour, I went on a tour, and we had a European tour as a dancer, and my uncle, family lives in London, right? So I'm like trying to calling my sister to get my uncle's number, because I'm like, I'm finna be in London, I gotta call my uncle. And she ends up calling my parents, like, yo, what's uncle's number? And they like, for what? And they like, I'm the last born. So like, I'm the baby, right? So they like, Princess is in London. What is she doing? Who is she with? Are they feeding her? Is this her work? So they're like questioning it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like it's just a tour. And then after that, I was like, I'm actually working. Like I'm not being trafficked. I don't know. So and then after that, when I started producing, it wasn't until I went home in when I first started producing, I was producing all Afrobeats, but Afrobeats wasn't hot in America, right?
I mean, now it is.
Yeah. But I was doing Davido, Alameda, Fino, everybody, right? T.Y., everything. So, but it wasn't popular in the United States. But I went home in 2016. Was it 2017? I went home, and my parents seen it on TV, and I was like, I did that video, and they're like, what did you do? I'm like, I created it, like me, but they still didn't really understand it. And like I said, Afrobeats wasn't as big in the States, and entertainment, like the world of entertainment in Africa wasn't that big yet either. Like I mean, we always had it, but it just wasn't as rich as it is now, right? So they still didn't get it. And I was like, well, this is what I do now. Like I make the stuff you see on TV. So, and they were kind of like, okay, as long as you're happy and as long as you're making money, like I want you to make sure you're making money and building a legacy for your own family. So that
as long as they ain't see you dancing in the video.
Yeah. If they would have seen me a little, my back in the day, a little bit, you know what I'm saying? No.
What is this? I come back home.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it.
So let's talk about like at the beginning stage of starting your company, Beyond the Steps, right?
Well, I have two: Beyond the Steps and Beyond Castings and Productions.
Right. Okay. So, did you dive right into doing everything paid, like getting paid gigs, or did you do free work as well?
So, I always negotiated myself into getting some type of money. Okay. But it wasn't like great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I would just make sure that I needed to make sure that I was always making some type of income. So even if it was just $100, or for Beyond the Steps, it was like a $25 or $50 consultation. But for producing, as long as I took home $100, $200, I was happy.
Right.
Because for me, I just wanted the work because I needed to build my portfolio.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't do anything per se for free, but I did stuff that was definitely low pay.
We always start there.
And I mean, I think you have to crawl before you walk.
That's
at all times. I think like this new generation just feel like Instagram blows you up in 2 seconds and they don't put in the work. Like we do have to crawl before we walk. They try to get out the womb and start running. It's like, you don't even know how to crawl yet. Like learn that, then learn how to walk. Then you could probably run a little faster, But you're gonna run and fall on your ass if you don't crawl first.
Facts.
And that's just what it is. So yeah, definitely I think everybody has that story of doing stuff just so we can get that work in.
Okay.
Putting in those hours.
So like give us the basics of like video creating. What is that process like? What does that even look like?
A lot of stuff in my brain. Like it's a lot. So I'm not even sure where to start because there's different ways that you can get the project, right? So you may come in and they may request that you bring in a treatment and you bid out a job, right? So meaning when I say bid out a job, you do the production budget for it, for the creative that you created, right? Or someone in your team created. So I usually do not make the creatives up. Sometimes I'm in that conversation, but for the most part, I rely on my director, my DP, or my creative treatment writers to do that, and I outsource all of that.
Okay.
And from there, they send it over to me, and I create a production budget based upon that creative, and then I fight for us to win that, right? And then sometimes the artist and their director come in, and they've already had a creative, and they're like, hey, how much is this gonna cost? We want you to produce it. So once we figure out the creative and we lock that in, and I send them a budget, and we go through that back and forth. If I ain't got no money, yes you do. Here's how much it costs, Then we go into the phase of hiring people, right? So my director, DP, and mostly the leads of each department. So I want to have a great production designer. I want to have my gaffer and my key grip who deal with our lighting setups, our DP, and then our glam team, of course, because when you're thinking about art direction and glam, they go hand in hand. And when you're thinking about art direction, lighting goes hand in hand with art direction. But all of that comes from the voice of the DP or the director. So you want to have all of those people have meetings with each and every one of them, and then start securing the rest of your team. Locations, you literally are doing everything. I don't even know how to break it down. I literally just move, and I have really good people around me. So it's like my first thing is, as I'm talking to somebody and they give me a creative, I'm probably texting 3 production designers already and yo, y'all available on this date? Y'all available on this date? Whoever responds first, I'm like, all right, I'm sending this over to you, bid it out for me. Let me know what that looks like on the art budget. Same thing with DPs. Yo, I'm about to submit you for a gig. You available? You available? Send me your reel. Let me look over. Let me see who's the best fit for it and who's available. So, and once you get that team, honestly, if you got an A1 team, it makes your job easy, you know? And then, of course, production managers and coordinators, which I'm getting a lot of those now, but they really help with the logistics of everything and help it move smoothly. So.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. So are you picking out your clientele, or are they coming to you? And like, what's the approach? Like, are you working with anybody, or is there a vision that has to be kind of brought to you first?
I mean, it has to make sense for me. I think with anybody who owns their own business and are entrepreneurs, we have the option to do what we want to do, right? We don't have to work for someone else and they tell us what we have to do. So when a project comes to me or a client comes to me, it's my decision if I want to take it on based upon what the concept is, how great is our working relationship, you know, and what's really gonna be the hardships that I have to face, and does it match the amount of money I'm getting paid, or does it match what is the vision of my company and what I want to stand for? So like if someone comes to me and they're like, yo, I just want to do this video where we're worshiping Satan, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? For what? That doesn't align with me. So it don't matter if it's the biggest person on TV, I'm not taking it. No money is gonna sell me to the devil, right?
Right.
So it's things like that where you can just say, no, like I'm good, thank you so much. Or I could give it to somebody that I know is atheist. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where it's like I can choose what projects I want, but a lot of the times they usually do come to me because, like I said, it's a word of mouth thing. I have really good relationships with A&Rs, video commissioners, directors. If you're up there at the label, I'm probably gonna be emailing you, updating you on what I've done in the past, and you know, just making sure I have a good rapport with you, so I'm always on your mind for other, you know, things that you have coming up. So, you know, A&Rs knows what song is gonna come out next. So more than likely there's a visual that's gonna be attached to it. So why not connect to them? The video commissioners are the liaisons between production companies, directors, and the label. So make sure you have a great rapport with them. Directors sometimes get that phone call directly from the artist because they're friends with them. Make sure you have good relationships with directors. So majority of my stuff comes from word of mouth and just making sure that I'm good to everybody I meet, kind of thing.
So Marilyn Manson come to you today.
Negative,
you're
not
doing
doing
it. Damn, man, you got money though.
I'm running the other way.
She said negative.
Yeah, you got money though.
I'm good.
Ooh,
I'm
damn.
good.
You think
Since
on
we
your-
are like speaking on relationships, what would you say is the most important aspect of the client relationship in the production process?
Just making sure that their vision comes to light, you know, like especially if if this is an artist that's you know, hands-on with it, I definitely want to make sure that's communicated, that we're going to make sure whatever you need and want is executed. But then also just making them feel comfortable. I don't want them to feel like they're working, because that's my job, right? You hired me to put on the project, to figure out the logistics, to make sure we're in budget. I don't want to come to you with those problems. I want to make sure you feel comfortable throughout the entire process. And I think that's why people come back to me, because it's like, when you work with me, you know, I don't have to pick up a finger. Like, it's done. Princess got it. I'm the #1 ear hustler, so you could be talking in a corner about something that you don't like, and I probably already changed it, you know, because I'm like, they come up to me and I'm like, oh yeah, it's been done. Like, when did you hear this? I heard you over there. It's cool. Like, don't worry about it. So I think it's just about just making sure that they feel good, they feel comfortable, and they feel heard. That's like the biggest thing for me with client relations.
So do you like when they are a part of that creative process with you, or do you prefer to come in with your own ideas, your own, you know, direction? Like, how do you feel about that?
It just depends. You know, I worked with Teyana Taylor for almost 2.5 years, right? And Teyana is hands-on. You know, she's a crazy creative, love her to death, and you know, she'd call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, just like, yo, I got an idea, da 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 da. I was just watching the movie, and you're like, okay, all right, so I'll call you at 8 and we'll discuss, you know. So sometimes it's like, it's great because you want those people who like actually care about their artistry, and then it can be overwhelming if you're the type of person that's like, I want to go to sleep, and they calling you at 3, you know, like, yo, I got whatever. So it's a catch-22, but I enjoy people who enjoy what they're doing. So I do like the artist being a part of it, but when they are a part of it, you are working around the clock, because now you're like, you know, whenever they got this idea, you're going, you know, or you might be chilling with them at their house, and it's like, all right, work time. You're like, no, I didn't. I just wanted to drink, you know. Like, So yeah, so it just depends. Yeah, it just depends for me. I don't mind it because, like I said, I just love the joy of seeing people, live out their dreams.
Okay. So, like, has there ever been a moment where there was a mistake or a big blow up during production that you had to encounter, and then how did you overcome that?
Production's there's always something. Always something. Always something. Like, we have to pivot so much on productions. Like I may have planned it to the T, and something's gonna happen. And I mean, it's to be expected, but as a producer, we're supposed to troubleshoot. Like that's our thing. Like, before a problem even happens, we're gonna be able to know the solution to it, right? So I couldn't even pinpoint one because something always happens. I remember one set we didn't shoot our first shot until maybe like 7 hours later, and we supposed to shoot like an hour and a half late. Like, once we have our call time, an hour and a half, cameras up. 7 hours, we hadn't shot not one thing.
So what were y'all doing?
It was a lot going on, sis. Like, what I'm saying? I can't shoot if people ain't
7 hours later, what was going on?
Girl.
You might as well block off all day if you're doing production.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, I don't know what. When I call people and they're like, yeah, what time? I just told you we here for a video. Like, 12 hours, 14. Like, don't ask me. It's never gonna be 1 to 3. It doesn't work like that. But yeah, like, we've had sky panels fall. We've had fights in the dressing room. I've had half of my crew walk out on me because it's too many hours. I've had to pull a plug on a production before. Like, yo, we contracted for this amount. So sorry, love y'all, but I can't do it to my team. Yeah.
What?
Like, yeah, half my crew walked out on me, and I was like, I feel y'all. They came to me like, Princess, yo, and I'm like, I understand it. It's cool. Do what y'all gotta do. I'm sitting there holding C-stands, like, all right, finna finish this video though. Like, it just is what it is. But it's been so many things, and it's just the world of production, and it's like a love-hate relationship. You know, it just is what it is, right?
So have you, speaking of people walking out, right, have you gotten a project from a client where it was like, all right, this is too much, like, fuck this, I'm walking out, or I can't do this? Maybe the client is kind of like coming up to you every minute, like, you know what, let's switch this off, let's change this. Like, have you been like, you know what, I took your money back, I'm out of here?
No. I can't do that. Once I commit, I commit. So whatever goes into that commitment, it just is what it is, right? I'd rather you walk away before you said yes than to walk away when you're in the midst of it, because I complete what I say I'm complete. So, yeah, so I can't do that. I've wanted to several times.
So, is there like a purpose that you go into each video? Is there like a story that you like to tell in each video you produce? Is there something, I must put this in there, I have to have this intention in this video, no matter what?
Other than just making sure it's great quality, no, because most of the time, a lot of the times, I'm not a part of the creative. I'm just a part of the execution. So I couldn't do those little golden eggs that are in movies and stuff like that. I wish I could, because I would. But no, my biggest thing is just quality, just making sure that whatever my name is stamped on, it's been approved, and it's like, yo, this is classic, or this is dope. And you probably know that I did it because it was clean, but yeah, I want to start putting my name somewhere. Like, right. I did it in the Twerkulator video. I'm like on the wall, like it's a crown and a P. And so it's like, like if you ever, see the wall of the city, it's a spray paint. I made sure they spray painted it. And it's another part that says BTS, like my initials from my company, just so, it's there.
Yeah, that was a dope video. So give us a little walkthrough on how that happened.
Right.
I want to know, like how you select the girls, and like what you even found them, like you just DMing them, like you want to be in this video. What's the process?
That was crazy, because actually the girl who's twerking over the city, we definitely did DM. We just found a good twerker. We was like, girl, I need that. But no, actually Missy found her. Missy found that girl, but on Instagram. She was just sending me Instagrams of girls. She was like, yeah, call her. I like her. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. But no, that project, it was a lot that happened with that project. But basically, without giving too much, it was handed to me after another producer was on the project. And like I said, it was good with relationships. I'm really good with the creative director for it and the video commissioner for it. So literally when they were trying to figure out who else was going to come on the project to produce it in the limited amount of time that we had, because they had another producer, it was like, okay, well, we know Princess. Someone said Princess, another person said Princess, another person was like, oh yeah, I like Princess. So it was like 3 people in that same room was like, yeah, I've worked with Princess, I like Princess, let's go with Princess. And so then I got the call. But that video took a lot to put together, because that was one of those videos where we did have limited resources for the caliber of artists that we had and the caliber of director we had. It was Missy's directorial debut, Missy Elliot. You know what I'm saying? That's legendary, right? So we had to make sure we took care of her just as well as we took care of our artists, the City Girls. So it was a lot of ups and downs with that video, but it turned out very well. Like, I think that the whole crew, like, just we worked for that one, you know. And then it was also a time crunch because marketing wanted this video out weeks and months ago, you know, because the song was out and they had to get through the clearance issues with the song, you know, and everything. And shout out to Mr. Hankey, you know what I'm saying, the producer on that. So but yeah, so it was a lot of stuff that went into it, and it was a lot of layers into it, because we were not just dealing with the video production, we were dealing with the whole rollout. We were dealing with the BET Awards. We had all-star talent like Misa Hinton, who's legendary, you know, stylist, you know, Puff's first wife, and you know, we had her on there, and we had Kellen, and we had Sean Bankhead. So it was like an amazing crew of people that was on there, and we had to make sure that everyone got what they needed. And like I said, it was a lot of pressure for that song to do well and that visual to do well to catapult it to the next level. So I enjoyed it, but it was definitely a lot of work with Twerkulator, yeah.
So what was like so wrong from the first producer for them to have to fire them to bring on another producer? Like, what is something we can kind of know? Like, what makes a bad producer? Like, what makes you so bad?
But I don't, so it's really about personal preference sometimes, you know, and how well the synergy is. It's not always just about the person being a bad producer, because the person actually was a really good producer, and I worked with them several times. So I wouldn't say it's a bad producer, but I would say that sometimes the synergy just has to be right. So director of photography, producer, and the rest of our keys need to make sure we're getting along and we're doing what's necessary. But then also the label needs to make sure, it needs to feel that way too. So it was really just a synergy thing. It wasn't anything else but preference and synergy. Yeah.
That makes sense though. I can feel that. Energy is big.
It is.
So a lot of people don't understand. Energy is very big, and I feel like your energy is not right. I don't even want to be around you.
Exactly.
I do not want to be around you.
I tell people all the time, I work with good people. We could teach you everything else. Like, I could teach you how to put this up. I could teach you how to do that. But if you're not good and you're not genuine and you don't got a good spirit, then I can't even be around you. Like, I don't go somewhere. Like.
But speaking of projects, like, would you say that's like your favorite project to date, or what are some well, actually, let's talk about outside of that project, because of course that was legendary, working with Missy Elliott, working with the City Girls, and all of that. So what was like your favorite project outside of that? Because you've done a lot of dope videos, and I'm like, yo, she do not miss. Every video is different. Every video is dope. It has a different concept, and I just love like the artists you choose to work with as well. So what would you say is your favorite out of all of them?
I don't think I have a favorite. I could tell you guys, like, one of the ones that was like really rewarding for me. Okay. I had a video, and I don't even think I've even posted it, but it was Young Thug, Gunna, Lil Baby, and Lord Jesus, I can't think of his name right now, but it was another artist on there. And what we did was we had to bail out some people from Fulton County Jail. So yeah, so it's called Paid the Fine. So it was for the record called Paid to Find. And we was on the news and everything for it. It premiered right before the Grammys. Yeah, and so that was rewarding for me because we were trying to do that video for like 2 weeks. And because it's called Paid to Find, Thug was like, I want to get some people out of jail who's been in there because they cannot pay that fine. They cannot pay their own bond, and they may have petty crimes, or they may have had a hefty crime, but they know that if they had the right means for a lawyer or whatever, they can really beat that, you know? And so we were working with the sheriff's office, bail bondsman, Thug, Gunna, and the label to try to like get them out. And we got 30 people out. I worked hand in hand to get 8 of them, you know, definitely completely out from paying their bond, going to the bail bondsman, getting them a hotel, getting them new clothes, you know, getting them food, you know, stuff like that.
That's hard.
Yeah, so that was like the most rewarding video I've done because, and I still talk to them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, these are people who are like, they stole something and it was like, oh, but my bond was $2,500 and I didn't have it and my family didn't have it.
Wow.
So they just sitting, you know, just for that. You know what I'm
They
saying?
gave me chills. Like, that is so dope. Like,
I saw that.
That's
I didn't
crazy.
know it was in the video.
Yeah, that was the they wanted that to be the
Wow,
video.
that's
They were
dope.
like, let's just get them out and get them some food and break bread with them.
That is crazy. I saw that too, but I did not realize that was the video. That is
I
hard.
had no idea. I was like, that's
So it was like a good soundtrack behind it.
actually rewarding though.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah.
so like, if you look back, right, then and now, from your dancer days to where you've come, right, like, what would you have done differently?
Nothing.
Nothing. Everything
Yeah.
worked out just as you wanted.
Yeah, I think God has ordered my steps in every way.
Amen.
I think that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing what I'm called to do. I think that in every step of my journey, I was able to help and impact someone, even in a mistake or even in a downside, or even when I didn't have money, or, you know, like, even, you know, it didn't matter if it was good or bad. It was impactful to my life or someone else's. So I wouldn't change a thing. Like, and I just think that God has really blessed me to live out my dream multiple times. Like, I always wanted to dance, you know, and I got to do that for 10 plus years. And I've always wanted to help people, and I got to create, you know, a company that's able to help other people see out their dreams. And now I get to create and be a visionary by producing, you know, and employ people. So I'm living out another dream to like help as many people as I want to or I can reach. So honestly, I would not change a thing.
So what keeps you going? So like, I know you're under pressure a lot. So like, what's the biggest thing that keeps you going every time?
Honestly, being able to help people. Like, being able to call somebody and be like, yo, Portia, I got a job for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that you love to do, not something that you just forced to do. Because most of the people in entertainment, like, they're doing something that they actually love. We're not just, we're like, we're writing, or there's people who really just love to gaff and love light. You know, and it's like they love the shape. My boyfriend like literally sits there and he'd be like, ooh, yeah, shadows. You know, like, you're weird. But you know, that's what he loves. And it's like, I get that chance to like really employ those people and see them live out their dreams. So I put money in people's pockets. That keeps me motivated. Like, if I keep going, then they can too. Yeah.
That's dope. So like, at the end of all of this, right, when the production is complete, who finalized that? Are you the one that finalized the project, or who is?
So with production, we have agreements, right? Mm-hmm. So whether it's with a TV show and we're doing it with the network, or a music video and we're doing it with the label, there's always the contract that goes. So they have ownership to it, and they're the people who's going to sign off and tell us if we've done enough, right? But we also have a deadline. So right after the production, we do a production schedule, right? A post-production schedule. And in that post-production schedule, I'm letting you know when we're going to get you that rough cut, when we're going to get you our graphics, when a VFX is going to see it, when we're going to color and beauty it or whatnot, right? So, and then we'll have our final delivery, and then we give them a hard drive, send it off, everything, whatever. So once all that stuff is sent off, once that rough cut and they giving us our notes back, then we, you know, do our next edit. In most contracts, We tell them how many revisions they get without having to pay another coin. So, you know, it's not like unlimited.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, well, we fulfilled our part, you know. And then we send it off to them, and most of the time they approve the label, the artist, usually approving. The director always has like a director's cut. So the director doesn't like the cut. It doesn't necessarily matter because they can have a director's cut, right?
Got it.
But we do want our directors to be happy too. So as long as the network or the label and the client or the artist are approve the edit, then we're cleared.
Got it. So they have ownership of the video, not you.
Yeah, they have ownership. So,
Okay.
Yeah, they own the content. It's owned, like if you look at every tag, it's owned by UMG or something like that.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they own it because they purchased it. So basically, you paid me to have this product. So in my production agreement, you may give me $250,000, right, to make this product for you. Okay, now I'm giving you the product because you just paid me $250,000. But that $250 is not going to my pocket. Of course, it's to create it and then whatever I can retain.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So would you say that through your journey, like, so mind you, you came into the business, right, from dancing, and then you got involved with the whole production side of things. What is some advice you would give to an aspiring producer, visual producer that would like to get into the business that may not go the route dancing because they don't have the dancing skills to start, right? So what way or what would you suggest that the route they take to get into the business?
Like I said in the beginning, just do. Like, do and ask. Like, knowledge is key. So if you don't know what you're doing, ask questions about it. Like, I have conversations with everyone. I greet everyone. I talk to everyone. And I will never be closed off because I can learn from any and everybody. Another way that I got in, honestly, even when I was producing, but I still wanted to have I wanted to learn a little bit more. I started PAing while I was a producer. Right? I was PAing on Star, I did Insatiable, I did a couple other Netflix shows just because I was like, if I PA one, I could talk to the background talent, right?
Smart.
So that's my casting database right there. Aspiring people,
smart.
Right? And then on top of that, I'm talking to the AD department and I'm talking to the producers unit and I'm asking them questions because I want to know. Or I'm talking to the gaffer and I'm like, what light is that? Why are y'all using that? You know, just so, because as a producer, we got to know a little bit about everything because, you know, someone can say, oh, I want this light package. And I'm like, well, that light does the same thing as this light, and this light is $100 cheaper, so we're going to go with this one. Like, even though you want this, it's cool.
Right.
It do the same thing. You just got to put a little extra work into it. It's cool. But, you know, so I wanted to learn any and everything about production. Or this camera is the same as this one. Like, honestly, we can shoot this camera, and it would give us the same quality. Like, but it was because I had to ask questions to people that were there. So I started PAing, did a couple shows. I didn't stay on because I was working, but I would, you know, day play on different shows. So that's a way to get in. And then apply what you learned. But then also just making sure you're speaking it too, because like I said, once I found out the term of what I was doing was called producer, that was what I was. So if anybody asked me what I was, oh, I'm a producer. I don't know, for real, but I'm gonna be confident. I'm a producer. So yeah, so speaking it, asking questions, and always forever being a sponge and soaking up and being a student, and then also just doing. Like, you have to apply. You have to do. Like, a lot of people will just stay in that planning phase and never execute. And sometimes that's why I told you I'm perfectly imperfect, because I don't need to wait for perfection. We're never gonna get that. And a lot of people, when they're about to start, they're waiting for perfection.
Right.
It's like, you're not gonna reach that. So let's just do it, and we'll find it along the way. It's cool.
Girl, I love your journey. I've been knowing you for a while now, but just hearing your story is so inspiring. So I love that. But you know, you cannot get out of here without playing a game with us.
Where my flags at?
We need the flags. Okay, so listen, it's the red flag, green flag.
I'm gonna drink real quick.
Hey, you might as well kill that.
What is this? Squid game? I ain't got time. I'm not finna do this.
This is not squid.
Yeah, with an arm I can just scratch ready.
I'm like, red light, green light.
I know you've been seeing like the flags, red flags on Instagram.
Yes.
What's the red flag? What's the green flag? So we gonna play the game.
This game is a red flag, honey. Okay, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna start. All right. So, dating one of your clients. I know you're in a relationship, but before your relationship, when you were single, is dating one of your clients a red flag or
She started. She already.
Don't do that. Don't get caught up.
Don't get caught up.
So now I'm sure a lot of people, upcoming people, they're like, "Hey, princess, can you do some free work for me?" Them asking that, is that a red flag or never mind?
But their status, but they got status. They got rank. They got rank. They got rank.
What if they got rank? Yeah. So you said, let me ask you
let me
this.
get some context.
Let me ask you this, right? Beyonce walk up in here. We know she got money, but she's like, yo, she want to test you out. You want to do the project?
Okay, testing me out. So like this is a
you
taste.
don't know she's
This is a taste test.
She just asked you, you're a princess.
She gonna ask me to produce her whole concert tour for free. Beyonce, you tripping?
You gonna say no to the Beehive or nah?
Yeah.
You gonna say no to
so
the
it
Beehive?
depends. I'm gonna do both of them. Mix it up a little bit. What color this make? I'm gonna mix it up.
You gonna mix it up? Okay.
It depends on the circumstance. I honestly do a lot of free work still.
Okay.
So, but I don't call it work. I do a lot of freebies and help out people.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Splitting bills. Red flag, green flag.
See,
Now make your boyfriend mad.
splitting bills like when you're like married and living together and stuff. Like
Your current situation. Are you married?
Okay.
No, I'm not
No.
married.
Okay. So let's speak in reality.
Okay, so I'm fine. I'm fine with splitting bills, and I'm gonna tell y'all why.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of people who are in the girlfriend boyfriend stage try to act like wife and husband when they're not there yet. So we can talk about my wants as a wife, which you would be paying the bills. But when we're dating and we're learning each other and we're figuring out a rhythm and stuff, like you're not obligated to do that for me because we're not tied, you know.
I respect that.
So for me, I don't know, and then I make my own money.
Look at
Nigerian women splitting bills. Woo,
See,
different. Hey, you Igbo?
but Igbo women are hard
real.
workers too. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, I have my own. I'm fine.
Yeah,
like regardless.
Nigerian women splitting bills. That's new.
Not when we married, but yeah, and we don't live together, so I don't shack either. So that's another thing.
Oh well, yeah.
He got his own bills to pay. He can help me though if he wants to.
Right. It's nice. It's a nice gesture.
So let me ask you this. Your boyfriend, he at the crib all day, you texting him. He not texting you back, but he on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Posting himself at the gym, you know what I'm saying? Posting little selfies. Is that a red flag or a green flag?
What you mean?
Hey,
I don't know if I can say the N-word, but nigga, what is you doing? Answer the phone. Like
Texting, you know, sometimes...
negative. Ain't no
it might be on
sometimes. We ain't
silent.
finna make that sound
No
good.
excuses.
We not making that sound good.
Messages, and I be on
We
the
not
gram.
making so you just a red flag. Period.
Yeah, he is.
Just sit this right here. I ain't got time.
Oh, okay. Let's talk. So we're not talking about your boyfriend. Let's talk about you're dating a guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He invites you to come to the mall with him, okay? He's spending money. He's in every store, designer stores, of course, balling out. But he don't ask you, do you want anything?
Just a red flag. I'm sorry. Like, you can't, just do it by yourself. Then don't invite me to, that's like inviting me to like Thanksgiving dinner saying, but you can't eat shit. Like, what kind of sense does that make? No, you better ask if I want some pie. Like, give me something. Like,
I feel
that's
that.
a red flag. I'm sorry.
That is.
You might as well go shopping by yourself. Why did you invite
That's a
me? So
rebuttal?
you could tell me, so you could show me what you could afford for yourself, because you can't. Clearly, you can't afford it for me and you.
Right.
It's a red flag.
That's a rebuttal.
Hey, just sometimes
You should
the
just
guy
keep
might
this
not-
here. Just keep it. Just keep it, because you're a walking red flag. I
All right,
can't.
last question. Just last question.
I can't.
All right, last question, right? And this is not your boyfriend, all respect. Previously, you on a date, you ordered the steak from, what's that new spot? Steak Market? The steak is like $300. He swiped his card. He like, yo, give me the gold steak. Give me 2 of them. And he swiped that card, it declines. I mean, that might not be.
No, don't take me there. Don't take me there.
What if
you
he
can't
reaches-
afford it?
What if he reached
It's
his maximum
okay.
for the day and he didn't use his credit card?
This is
Hey, if you're a financial, hey,
He needs to hang it up in.
you know what? Some people are responsible. I might be like, you know what? I have a 1K a day minimum. Well, I forgot I'm taking her on a date. You know, let me call my bank.
No, there's not a no.
Hey.
Excuse me. There's no 1K minimum.
A day. Sometimes
It's not.
People,
It's not if you got money.
That's budgeted.
No.
Hey, you don't think Steve Jobs?
If
was out
it's
here-
budgeted, then you would not take me to that restaurant on that day. Cause you knew
He
your
might
money.
like you and he said, you know
if
what,
you
you
if
ain't
you
part
know
of my
if you
budget
know
for
if
the
you done
day.
said Steve Jobs, you just said budgeting. Then that means you know your money. That means on Wednesday, if you spent more than 1K, you should not have asked me out on Wednesday. You need to ask me out on Thursday.
Period, sis.
What? I'm confused.
But look, we gonna end it right there because
keep
he's definitely
that.
a red flag.
You need to keep that.
Sis, anything else you want to leave with our viewers before we get out of here?
So,
For any aspiring producer or anybody that just want to get in the business, period. Like, what's
For the little girl watching you,
what's something you want to leave her with?
hey, little girl. So, no, I'm playing. One of my quotes that I always say is never compete or compare. Always congratulate and do what you're called to do. And I live by that. Like, I don't compare with anybody, to myself to anyone other than myself. I don't compete with anyone other than myself. And I make sure to congratulate everyone on their successes because what's for me and what I'm called to do is it's for me. So
Always.
just remember that. And I mean, honestly, just look for the power within yourself and within God, and you're good.
Love that. Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the Dope People Meet podcast. I am your girl, Portia Marie.
it's your boy Iffy.
And this is where creators meet and have dope conversations.
Hey, it's your girl, Princess Mbanuzue, and make sure you check me out on Dope People Meet podcast.